Now that you're at war, end of game. 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 Yeah. It is the end of the time. Yahweh will not bless the nation that has gone astray. Blood sacrifice in the bay, children gunned down. Do we ever learn who it is and what they want? Now that you're at war, end of game. 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 End of game. Now that you're at war, end of game. End of game. We see them here, we see them there, the epic of creation and destruction. Blood are not tears, torture is not joy, stalking is not something of goodness and God. Love and peace everywhere cannot abide, it must subside. It comes through the same place of fear. Fear of the other, fear of me, fear of you, and the absence of love. Yeah. Yeah. Don't wake up. Don't you wake up. Satan, God, choices. Now that you're at war, end of game. Where is love? That you're at war, end of game. Peace is not war, love is not hate, stalking is not friendship. Now that you're at war, end of game. Now that you're at war, end of game, end of game, end of game, end of game, end of game. the epic of creation and destruction. Now that you're at war,
End of game.
now that you're at war,
End of game.
now that you're at war, now that you're at war,
End of game. End of game.
now that you're at war, yeah.
Greetings in the name of the Most High. Well, we're in a precarious situation. Precarious because my conclusion is I've kind of written off the whole DNC thing and the convention and the Republican convention, and I've pretty much written off America in general. And I know it's not very patriotic, and I don't feel patriotic. I feel, I'll tell you how I feel, because, I've been in the spirit too, and wondering. And what I keep hearing is that it's the people's fault. And what am I talking about? I'm not really even talking about policies or things people have said that they're going to do or not going to do or whatever. I'm just saying that it's the people's fault in the sense that nobody's going to do anything about this. What do I mean? It's the people's fault. For what? Well, okay, so if the people, they will be complaining in the future. So they had a choice, right? So they've chosen Kamala Harris as their, this phenomenon has just swept. Everyone was saying, "Oh, that honeymoon will be over," and all that. And I said, she basically has won. She wins, and I'll stick with what I said. I'm not saying it's the most popular thing to say, and you can blame me for being the messenger and all that. And I'm not a big Trump guy, like RFK, even better than Trump, except for a couple of things. But I don't like anybody 100%. It's just whether it's an American value or a they scream nationalism, I scream organized. They scream nationalism, I scream chaos. I scream republic, I scream orderly, rule of law, borders, language, culture, and innovation, and things that we have wanted as a society to get to. The idea that I added up how many years the Democrats have been in power, and it looks like most of my life they've been, but the last 15 years they've almost been. I think there was a couple of years where Trump had power, but they've had power the rest of the time, and yet they, and what turns me off is that they keep blaming Trump. I know why they do it, because he's this white man nationalist bigot. He's the face of bigotry. They made him the face of racism. Obama made a tiny dick joke. I mean, that's like, for a guy who's supposed to be a classy guy, that's really beyond the pale. That's about the point where I tuned out, folks. I'm just looking more at the geopolitical picture. I can't take the clown show seriously. But these people, especially the men, I would imagine that if you were in a foxhole with any of these men that are at this convention, you'd be worried that you might get shot in the back by one of them. I don't know that you could rely on. I don't know that we would be brothers and sisters against a common struggle. But they are flirting, and this is more to the point, more important in a way. This is a more important story than the conventions and all the noise. The UFO invasion, Project Bluebeam, is a real thing. And to that extent, that is a real thing. The idea is what Reagan said. Suppose there's a threat from out there. We'd all have to band together and put our differences aside to survive. Yes, something like that's in the works. I don't know when. I can't tell you when that's going to happen, but it has something to do with bringing people into unity. And what that means for a totalitarian is bring them into policing each other. Okay? Bring them into tattletaling. Thank you, Jish. I got this beautiful Bible. I got to plug this Bible. We're not going live because I've just had so little sleep. My eyes are just bleary and my hair is a mess. And I don't want to really do the messy. I'm trying to, have a nice light, nice video light. Anyway, it's called, let me just tell you what it is. King James. I always go with the King James. It's, but who published it? Who published it, Trish? Who published it? Some light on the subject. Who published it? Where do I get light? Where do I get light? Well, it's right here in black and white because I read the publisher yesterday as I was going through the Bible, and it's I think I paid $21 for it. This piece here is leather. It's actually there's leather on it, which is unusual. Oh, Christian Art Publishers. Christian Art, A-R-T, Publishers. The one that I got is the just their Holy Bible, King James Version. It's red lettered. It has the index, so you can more quickly, if I need to get to one of these scriptures, it more quickly will get me there. I found that the more I have it around, the more I have it at my bedside, the more I'm just reaffirming a lot of the things that I got out of it before. In times like this, I've needed comfort, and I looked at Trish. She goes, "I don't know what to do." I looked to myself. I go, "I don't know what to do." So this is what we've got. Remember when we were in trouble back then in the 90s? Do you remember how we used this book to realize that everything that's happening to us is not strange, but it's written in this Bible? Yeah. Everything. It's in here. I was reading about persecution, and I realized one of the big mistakes we make, and this is an ongoing discussion in this household, and probably among a lot of you, but one of the big mistakes we make is when there's persecution, when there's unfair attacks, when there is what seems like, when we assess things are unfair, like I could say that about my medical issues, that is totally unfair. And then what they did to me in the hospital is beyond evil. Okay. Shouldn't have happened. God, why didn't you protect me? No. I was persecuted in the hospital for being on that side, for being on Jesus' side. Why on Jesus' side? Well, because how did I get here? When I was severely interrupted, when my life had come to a standstill, I couldn't find any friend to talk to. When I was also a young man, a young teenager, and I was so troubled, and it seemed like they just were trying to shuffle me off either to the loony bin or get me to commit suicide. Those were the two things going on. Both were attempted numerous times. And I just needed somebody to talk to, folks. I just needed somebody to understand what I was seeing. I have a special, gift in a way. I can see things, right? I see things. And I need somebody, and they all said they understand what I'm seeing, but they're not going to talk about it because they're afraid that they're going to get in trouble. And I'm like, well, are we all just keeping one big secret here? Yes. And so how do you get on the side? Come on over to our side and have protection. And you know what that involves? It's free will, swearing of allegiance to that side, to the devil. Everybody knows what that is. But nobody wants to talk about it because they're afraid if they talk about it, they'll lose their position. What is their position? They're in line to get a promotion, don't you know? So they can't talk to you, Zeph. They're not going to take time to talk to you about your troubled soul, about it's unfortunate, but as my mother used to say, it's your choice. I said, I've had no choice since day one. I've been cut like this. I've been, fashioned the way I am. And I guess the only way I'd survive is to go with the derelicts and the freaks out there and just live in the cracks and the shadows. Ha! That, because society is telling me to kill myself. Society is telling me to, that you're too dangerous to be around. Why am I dangerous? Because you say things like that there's an FBI agent at the Calvary Chapel. Even though that was accurate, you shouldn't have said it. And that's why they threatened to kill you. Oh, yes. I made a lot of bad mistakes like that. I didn't realize there was how dangerous things were in the world. I didn't understand how your own parents could kill the firstborn, i.e., that would be me, and feel like they've done the right thing. I just have a problem. I think, how could I kill my daughter? Now, yesterday was Francesca's birthday, and she died on July 18, 2018. She dove off a bridge in Tuscany because she couldn't get beyond wanting to be abused, because she was abused when she was a child because her mother didn't supervise her but did take her around to lots of adult parties. And that's where a lot of this abuse got started. And then she had abusive relationships over years. Anyway, she got hardwired. And she went to a psychiatrist in Florence, Italy, and he put her on, you guessed it, Zoloft. And then what's the next thing going to happen? She dove off the bridge. Probably wouldn't have done it without the Zoloft. Zoloft did a good job, huh? Oh, excellent. Got rid of that bitch. So, and that's the attitude. If you're not with them, well, you see what they want to do. They want to lock you up forever. They want to kill you. They want to assassinate you. They want to, when they kill you, it says in one of the epistles of John, it says, they'll kill you thinking they're doing, we need more light, but they'll kill you thinking they're doing God's service. They'll believe wholeheartedly that in crucifying Jesus and letting Barabbas go, the thief, the murderer, but by crucifying Jesus, they've done the right thing and they feel really good about themselves because he was a trouble. Well, there's a reason they killed him. And it's the same reason that had I died, they would have killed me. And, in the hospital, they made no bones about it. You are persona non grata, and that is the end of it. And if you're not persona non grata, then you're doing it wrong, or you have no faith, or you're not hooked up, or you're not equally yoked with the people of God, whose home is not of this world. Well, we admit that. They get mad at the political rallies because they say, well, this evil, the Christian fascists, we don't need them. And they're talking about abortion. They're talking about Sodom and Gomorrah. They're talking about abortion. They're talking about sodomy. They're talking about girls with girls and boys with boys. They're talking about sacrificing babies to Molech. And my prediction, what was it, 15 years ago? Not the only one that made this prediction, but I made a prediction. I predicted that they would eventually legalize post-birth abortion because it's a more efficacious sacrifice and because it's better for organ harvesting. Oh, they're going to do it now, and you're going to see it, and you're still going to do nothing. So I'm not going to get sad. I've cried and cried and cried. Don't they understand? Don't they understand that when you kill a child, when you hurt a child, it's like precious in the eyes of God? It's just not ever going to be okay. And this society can never reform, will never be okay. It is because of the atrocities that have gone on for thousands of years and go on to down to this day around the world that it's going to be wrath. It's just a matter of time and when there would be wrath. Why would there be wrath? Because, and here's the simple truth, and this is what people will not accept. This is why PhDs become idiots, okay? Here it is. Let me express in a nutshell how they lower their IQ to zero. They believe they're in charge. I, man, am in charge. And yet they can't control the weather, not really. They can't control the movement of the planets. They don't even know what the dimensions are. They're looking around, fishing around with this CERN thing, trying to, imitate the initial creative power of God to create, as well as open up portals, which they failed at both counts. So now you don't hear much about it. Yeah, well, you're not going to hear much. If it was a success, you'd be hearing about it every day. It was a failure. Colossal failure, which they hide. Oh, they always tell you, oh, they're making progress. But, we got to build another couple miles of tube for that light to go through. A couple more miles, and we've got it. Where we can, and what is it you're after? The God spark? I thought you said there was no God. Well, we see there is here, and then we keep that from the audience because there's dumb cattle anyway. Who cares? I see. So we have a contest between Dumb and Dumber, who has their hands on the highest technology of the land, which is why AI is the stupidest thing that's ever been invented. It's absolutely a mimicker. And oh my God. Well, no, had they marketed it correctly, it's a tool that will help you compile, will help you write, will help you organize. I use it to know about things I don't know, and it searches out on the net. It can be a great tool. Nothing wrong with it. But in the hands of people that want to control, who want to dominate, who want to control you, they want to make it more and more powerful so that they anticipate your every move. Therefore, you don't have to think about it. Therefore, they are moving you. You're no longer moving yourself. And which way do you move? You're going to go around in circles. We'll fly high like a bird up in the sky. Yeah, you're going to go around in circles, baby. And you're going to think you need another PhD. You can have all the PhDs you want, and you still can't get your ass off this planet. Amazing. Well, it's on display, so I've kind of dropped out. I really look. Does it do me any good as a speaker? And even though what would be better for me? To speak on things like what fascinating things about Jesus and about the the transformative walk in Christ that goes to the beyond, especially about old age, and transcending of which leads to epiphany in the spirit, and that overcomes death, and it also overcomes the world. Do not worry, Jesus told us. Don't worry. I've already overcome the world, meaning I have overcome death. I've overcome this limitation. I've overcome entropy. I've overcome limitation. I've overcome time and space. And yet you still want to call me Jesus, Jesus, whatever, and see me running around in a certain robe with a beard. You don't understand that I was always the Alpha and the Omega, because without the Alpha and Omega, you wouldn't be here. So who is he? What is this all about? Yeah. See, this is the thing. They can't handle this part. Why were you really born? Well, I was born to play basketball. I was born to put the ball through the hoop. When I do that, people applaud and they give me money. I was born to play a 6-string guitar on stage with loud amplifiers, and they swoon and they throw panties on the stage and they send me money. I get to live in Malibu and I get to fly my private jet, and I'm feeling pretty good about stuff. That's my purpose. Yeah, and then death comes one day. What's your purpose now? To grin and bear it. You think I'm going to make a choice that would deny all those things that I've received? I like all my things. I like my toys. I got more toys than anybody else. I have all the toys. I own everything, says Larry Fink. I own all the corporations and all the money and all the people. They're all my slaves. They'll say and do whatever I tell them to do. Hello, Ben. Good morning. Good morning, doctor. He looks like he wants to. Oh, I understand. You got fed. It's not enough, Ben?
You didn't need it.
You didn't need it. You didn't want it. Okay, so what he's doing now is complaining that the food's not up to par. Well, that's going to happen. Have you checked me out today? Usually he smells my breath to see if I'm okay. And he's concerned because he stays with me all day long. But so far so good, folks. Oh no, God, not because of doctors, because of God. That's why it's so. Otherwise, I'd be dead, which I'm sure a lot of people would really love. And you know who you are. And my God, I'm just a messenger. I mean, who you really want to kill is you can't get to right now. It's Jesus. You really want to kill. So getting everybody you don't want people that say they believe. You want people that actually belong, that actually are inextricably linked to the entire kingdom of heaven. And the kingdom of heaven is nothing less and nothing more than the multidimensional multiverse, which you can't seem to get into. The real universe that you always talk about, you New Agers, and you always want to go there. You want to open up the portals and fly through the sun to 1,000,000 different dimensions and wield your own sword and your own will and build empires and be in Star Wars and Star Trek. Don't work like that. That, what you're talking about, you can't get to from here. The way was blocked by that big angel. And you're not going there. You can't get to the rest of the universe. You can't even get to the rest of the solar system. You can't do what you say you can do on paper in your think tanks at MIT, at Stanford, and so forth, at Oxford, at Geneva. So, and you don't want to go, and I don't blame you, the religious way. I don't go that way. I have to go the way of truth, which then bars the door to religion, because I've been told that I must leave religion in order to find God. And I tried it, and it's absolutely true. But enough about that. The reason I bring it up is because in these times, if you're inclined, if you're a prodigal son or daughter, I'm just going to say this very quickly. If you need to go home, whatever, and you're missing it, and there's just nowhere, no how, nothing is, it's just going to grind to a halt. And it's just people are going to become feral and eat each other and things like that. You might at that point understand maybe it's time to go home. Maybe it's time for you to go home. After what I've seen, I have seen a million times worse than anything claimed of Sodom and Gomorrah, especially all the human sacrifice. What they seem to focus on sodomy. They're hung up on anal sex. Anal sex, where a penis goes into an anus and then discharges seeds called sperm that are meant for procreation into the anal cavity, which is for waste. Now, why would someone want that? Oh, because it feels good. Well, it may feel good, but the point is what is the symbol? What is the ritual going on here?
No joking, Vince.
The ritual going on here is putting life-giving seeds, living water, if you will. I'm not saying that sperm is living water, but it sounds like it in a way, and you're putting it into the waste bin, into something designed specifically for waste. It's just interesting how that goes on. And that's an intertwining with to me, that's an intertwining. What if that sperm went into a womb and, germinated into a child or two, and then birth was given? That's usually seen as a beautiful thing. But even more now, more beautiful, is the germination, the cell division of what becomes a fetus, and then carrying that fetus, and until that fetus is conscious of what's being done to it, and knows pressures and knows sounds, and then extracting it in the most hostile way possible, and then gutting it like a pig for organs, and then sending the organs around. I think gutting pigs is worse. Have you seen the way they do that? They have a machine that does that. It cuts the pig in half, and it, cuts up all the meat. So, are you telling me that therefore all life should be killed? Yes. And that's your true belief. Yes, that's the belief of Kamala Harris. All life should be destroyed. What does the singularity represent? Ray Kurzweil would like all life to be ended. Where did George Orwell stand? All life should be ended. It shouldn't have been here in the first place because it was unfair. Because every civilization on earth was unfairly founded. And the people need to be punished for having squatted on the land, whether it's Africa, Europe, Asia, America, Canada, South America. It doesn't really even matter. The humans are all squatters. What humans should remain should be there for to help the stewards of the earth, and the council of the earth, to do what it must do, and the rest should be discarded. And yes, the sperm should be planted in the anus, meaning the life. No, there's a meaning here. It's a ritual acting out the death of a human being and thrown into the garbage, bleeding out on the land, being horrific and traumatizing for the control of the population. With Trump, you don't think they wanted to have a spectacular brain splatter? They had the best photographers in the world there that day. And when the shooting started, they were right with it. They kept shooting. They didn't cower at all, did they? They didn't flinch. The best photographers in the world. And they kept focusing on Trump's head. And they wanted to get a brain splatter that they could put on the front of the New York Times. And if you don't know that, then you don't know anything. And this is, no, we're not left versus right. We're right versus right, left versus left. Left-right's bullshit. They all want death. You know how death of others comes up in your soul? It starts coming up and you're dry. I need something now. My enemies have hurt me. I need to kill at least one of them. I must kill one of them. I'm going to kill my mother. I should kill my father. That's as good as abortion, right? I should abort my parents because they illegally had me as a child without asking me. I know, Trish. Trish is nodding that I think I'm being kind of fantastical with that statement, but there are people actually making that argument and with all due seriousness, correct?
Yes, and getting compensated.
Well, they'll pay anything for a death cult. See, every which way, go to MIT, go to UCLA, go to USC, go to Stanford, go to go to Oxford, go to any of these schools, and you will learn the secret of the whole world is in death. The secret to witchcraft is in death. The secret to economy is in death. The secret to mind control is in death. The secret to everything, all the power is in death. All the power is in death. And he who can wield death receives the power even before the sword strikes the neck. It's great work if you can get it. And so the ultimate meaning of the singularity is the vox populi entering into euthanasia centers and killing themselves, all of them. A great victory, because that's exactly what the program requires. Nuclear war isn't for warfare. For trauma, yes, but it's to end populations, to end peoples, to end civilizations. The whole point of the Enlightenment in Europe that spawned the great failure, one of the greatest failures of the entire Western civilization since the Renaissance, is the French Revolution. One of the greatest debacles of all time, heralded as some great victory because of the Magna Carta and because of the freedom. The people were delivered from serfdom. No, they were not. They were not delivered from serfdom. What happened is what you might call the deep state of that day, called the Jacobin Society, took over the revolution and even killed the guy that started it, Robespierre. Read up on it. You'll just start laughing because you'll see all the parallels. Don't read a propaganda book about how great the revolution was. And the same thing with propaganda books about the USA. There's some very good things here called innovation, and a little freedom does go a long way, and this could be really great, but the sun is blocked by the moon. The progress, the real progress of human innovation and getting off this world and beyond is blocked by the people who say they want it and take your money because they want to kill you. The whole point of government on the earth is to organize the mass killing event, which they hope will go pretty much all at once. And it's not for 10 or 15% birth control, population control, as Bill Gates says. It's to go from a carbon world to a silicone world. Silicone world, there are no human beings. You can have robots, right, Trish? Robots. But you're not going to have real trees or flowers or plants or food because there is no need. It's dead. To fork over sovereignty to that would be the ultimate slap in the face of God. It is the strategy. It is the way of champions. The way I'm talking about it, they're probably going to try to recruit me now. This is the way of the best who can think through this shit to the real point, which I've done here today. The super point, the fine point, just like a James Bond thriller. Well, why do you think that is that Ian Fleming wrote the James Bond thrillers with a group called Spectre that wants to kill the whole world? And that James Bond is going to save the world from extinction. Why are they always putting out Hollywood movies of extinction events over and over and over? There is no such thing as an extinction event because there are actually, there's a little bit of a secrecy to this, but I don't want to confuse. I don't want to confuse what I've laid down here, which is basically the motivation of these people's, the raison d'etre of their existence. The whole point is death. All the power is in death. So, well, where does God come in with prayer? Didn't say it was gone. Well, then God must want that. If people have free will and they are influenced by the powers that be to choose death, and they go ahead and choose it because they want to boost. Look, selling out to Satan is this. Okay, you can make it this old arcane thing. I'm going to cut my wrist and have blood there. I'm going to get sodomized on the altar. I'm going to kill a baby on the altar and drink the blood. And they'll cheer me on and make me a Satanist. And my rock career will go to the top, or my acting career, my modeling career, whatever. Because I killed the baby and drank. You did what? I killed the baby and I drank its blood. Oh my God. I had to kill a lot of people, says I had to sacrifice a lot of people in my own family in order to be, a famous person with millions of dollars. Yeah, but you don't see the big picture because you're an idiot. You're a dumb fuck. All you are is basically chattel, a slave. You understand? The real intellectual perfection of it all is in the opposite, is in death. But you didn't want death. You wanted stardom. You wanted supremacy. You wanted some kind of, bragging rights because you failed to understand what the point of life is to begin with, which is basically never going to be about you. That's for damn sure. All right, I'm blown out now. I am. I don't think anyone could put it better than that. And I say that with no humility whatsoever. I just am going to let it fly. I don't think you're going to hear it better than that. And I think you're going to raise your eyebrow and you're going to go, oh, no, it's not like that. So to you people who want to be skeptical, what I want you to do now is work it backwards, baby. Work it backwards. And you'll see I'm right. You know, that will take you're not going to do it in 5 minutes. You're going to have to think it through the other way. From death to life, from life to death, okay? And why would they want death? Well, why would Satan rebel? Why would anything do anything? Because it has free will. Why would it be mad at God? Because it wants to be sovereign. It can't be sovereign if it's in a chained to the Lord and chained to the throne, chained in a cage, whatever reason there. Who gives a shit what reason it is? They want payback. And you living out there in the land, the suburbs, you might live in one of these I remember that movie Poltergeist, fun little horror movie was it Spielberg that did the first one? I don't know, I can't remember shit, it's so long ago, but he'd fly over the suburbs, and the thing I noticed is that all the suburbs, they had the same roof, the same street, the same sidewalks, the same lawns, and it wasn't in a critical way. It was just to show what humans will do. They're in these little houses in the suburbs, one stacked against the other, and all looking uniform. And I'm sort of I'm looking at that, and then in one of those houses in the suburbs, in a place you'd least expect it, there was poltergeist activity. But the thing that was so interesting to me is somebody else might see that footage of the suburbs and think, well, this should be firebombed. Why should it be firebombed? Right. You're going to say the right thing, Miss. Okay, sit down at your desk there. I'm the teacher, you're the student. Okay, so here's the bottom line. Why should it be firebombed? Why must it be firebombed? And please don't recruit me if you're on the other side, because I'm very sensitive, and those kind of things throw me for a loop. Why should it be firebombed? Then there's another question: who should firebomb it? Indeed, it should be firebombed because basically those people have all given up. They are all slaves, living in their uniform conformity, and they are going the way of the beast, and their lawns are going to be the same, and their stucco is the same, and their roofs are the same, and all their kids go to the same high school, and they're going to go to the same colleges. They're going to graduate, and then they're going to repeat the same stupid shit their parents did. There is no reason to leave these people alone. Now, to a terrorist who's able to think, now, if I could talk to the terrorist, I could convince them in 2 seconds to take it all out. I mean, why? I was invited to someone's house for dinner there in the suburbs, and we walked 2 blocks with the dogs, and they nodded at each other, I said, what are you going to do? You're gonna live here and then retire? And then you're going to retire, and then you're going to be happy in your retirement, and then your kids are going to do the same thing. And they're going to mow the lawn. What if somebody put a garden in that lawn and put some food in there? But it's rows of corn. Well, he must be killed. Well, and that is the reason you need to be killed. And at the very least, whatever's inside you, whatever made you the way you are, needs to be killed. And your fucking free will, you can toss that. You've already been a fool. So, I mean, there's really no saving you, is there? You've already made your choice. It's like that Jackson Browne song, I'm going to be a happy idiot working for the legal tender. Well, what he means is he is going to, put his morals, concerns, thoughts aside, turn his brain off, be a happy idiot, doing meaningless things to get money, which in his case would be music. Great. I didn't think he'd last that long anyway. He didn't. He wrote a couple classic songs. It was maybe a 2 or 3 hit wonder, and then he was gone. Anyway, I don't think he lives in the suburbs with those lawns. There are people that, what about people that make their own houses? You don't understand. All the people that make their own houses let's take Santa Barbara. Let's go down to Jeff Bridges territory. And where does he live? He lives in, what's that hoity-toity place next to Santa Barbara Church? I forget the name of it now. But it's where all the movie stars like to live. Randy Quaid had a house there once. Anyway, why should they live? And I'm saying, well, they're all pay property taxes, so they shouldn't. Why should I live? Well, according to those rules, I shouldn't. I should be treated like any other human being. Dead! But some people say they're already dead. Exactly. So why do we have to keep feeding them? And that brings us to where the WEF and the secret societies and all your nice people up at the top of the corporatocracy and all your rulers of the world, all 5 of them, that's where we've come to, because they are too pedantic to work it through, because their little brains only know what somebody else has published. And they can regurgitate stuff, but they can't think. Any original thought will be punished with excommunication. No, it doesn't take balls to publish this. It takes separation. And with that, I bid you shalom. It won't get better than this one. If this is a thing. And I just hope it shows you a little more about who Jesus is. What Jesus is. Why you need redemption. Because, the very cogent, mathematically accurate plan, the quantum equation, which is no entanglement, is death. And people are given enough time to figure that out, but they don't. If I did this, like if I was in one of those halls at UCLA, doing one of these talks here, they would haul my butt out and into the UCLA Medical Center on the 5th or 6th floors, the psychiatric unit. That's where they would put me. Because they can't not mow the lawn. They're going to have to mow it. I don't know who I am or what my name is, how I got here, where I'm going. Something happened along the way. I'm not a slave. I don't want to listen to you. Now I see who you really are. You thought you had me fooled. And I'm
rupture. Stay the hell away from me.